Our next speaker is Senator Glenn Hegar, and he's a candidate for Texas Comptroller, right? Right, okay.
Thanks, Mike. I'll take the mic. Well, thank you for letting me be here. It's great to see you on a very, very cold night outside. A day like today, for various reasons, but a day like today makes me really glad to be in Texas. I don't know how those people do it further north than here, but I tell you, I grew up, my name is Glenn Hegar, and I'm running for Texas Comptroller. I live in Katy, Texas, which is west of Houston. I grew up in a small community called Hockley. If you drive down Highway 290, if you blink, you've missed the whole Hockley. That's it. You see, but if you keep your eyes open, you'll see Hockley, Hegar Road, and you're leaving Hockley. My family moved there in 1846, which makes me a sixth-generation Texan. I'm married to a very, very strong Texas woman, and I have 3 wonderful children. I've got a 8-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old daughter, and a 5-year-old son. Actually, somebody made the comment the other day, said, no, they were asking about my son. They said, no, he's 5, right? And I said, well, correction, he's 5 3/4. Because he reminded me just the other day. They're about to have birthdays, so they're excited. And I tell people that they are wonderful kids. You know why? They're not teenagers yet. So I'm enjoying the young years before they get to be teenagers. But I grew up in a farming community. I grew up farming for my life. My family, as I said, had been here for 6 generations on my grandfather's side. My mom's side, my grandfather's a Baptist preacher. So if I get a little long-winded, make sure you stand up and stop me there. You got the timer. I'm an Aggie, but I can see 1, 5, and 4. I can get that down real good. But I tell you, I grew up as a business person. And people say, well, whether it was in the farming family, whether it was in equipment dealership businesses my grandfather had, or whether it was our grain elevator, as a business person, I understand the fact that how you come to success. Success isn't easy. It's not something that's just freely given to you. It's not something that a prior generation or a prior generation or a prior generation. It's something that you have to keep every single day. It's something to where you roll up your sleeves, you work hard, and you may hit your head against the wall, and guess what? You get to get up the next day and you get to try it again. And I think that's what our country was founded on. The fact is, somebody had asked me not too long ago in traveling the state, there was a actually TV reporter that said, Glenn, you serving in the Texas House or the state Senate, that qualifies you to be comptroller. And if it wasn't the camera rolling, I wanted to laugh. And the reason being is serving in the legislature in no shape, form, or fashion qualifies you necessarily to be our controller. What is our controller? As really more or less the label is Susan Combs, you go to the website, our current controller, your chief financial officer for the state of Texas. What does that mean? It means you're the taxpayer's accountant. Doesn't mean that you're the state government accountant. Yes, maybe entitled, but whose money is it? It comes out of somebody's pocket. It comes out of your pocket, and your pocket, and your pocket. It doesn't just show up magically like sometimes my kids think some money showed up somewhere. It's out of somebody's pocket. And that means somebody worked hard for us to have that. And you have to keep that in focus. So the controller, number 1, is your accountant as the state taxpayer. Number 2, you're the person that tells the legislature, this is the amount of money and not 1 penny more do you have. Oh, by the way, it doesn't mean you got to spend everything you're given. But this is actually your budget. And you forecast that out for the next 2 years. You're also the person, I passed some legislation when I first got to the Senate in 2007, that to me in the 21st century, where everybody, you said earlier, said I'll give you my cell phone for the timer, not just on your cell phone these days, and a smartphone, as I guess they're called, a computer. You can actually go online in the state, in your state, to see how your dollars are being spent. I passed legislation in 07 because I said, whoever better than to put that at the controller's office, if they're the one that's doing the accounting of your tax dollars, you should have the knowledge to be able to go online and see how every single dollar of your money is being spent. Now, Susan Combs has taken that to a new level, not just for your state tax dollars, but also your local tax dollars. How many local entities do we have in the state of Texas? And not all of you can go and get that information. And there should be one place where you have openness, transparency in government to where you can see your dollars. And people have asked me, said, well, Glenn, do you want to continue making sure that there is openness and transparency in government? And I said, well, absolutely. I'm the one that put it there. So I hope that I'm going to be the one to continue that. The fact is I want to make sure that Texas businesses, and we'll say businesses because the fact is what are you in collecting the taxpayer? It's not easy to stand here and say, hi, I'm Glenn Hegar and I want to be your tax collector. That's kind of what the Comptroller's office is. But my question is, who better than someone that has a proven track record? Somebody who is honest, open, and has integrity. I grew up in a family to where my grandfather, I'll never forget the day when he was telling me about your word is your bond and it's your handshake. Nothing more, nothing less. It's your handshake. What do you actually stand for as an individual? What is your legacy in this small world? Just yesterday, as I was sitting here looking at the screenshot, I was thinking about sitting back in Sunday school yesterday, and we had a little video, was our Sunday school presentation. And one of the things was talking about our neighborhood. And our neighborhood is actually the galaxy that we live in. And you know, just in our little old neighborhood, if you counted a star every second, it'd take you over 2,000 years to count the stars that we have in our little neighborhood. The point is that who are you? And the gentleman, he said, well, I don't mean to make you small. I just want to make you see how big things are. But in our small world, in our portion of the neighborhood, the fact is honesty and integrity mean something, and they account for something. This last summer, I passed a piece of legislation. I had a reporter ask me a question 3 times. And the legislation I passed this last summer, we were there in special sessions, and I carried legislation that improved women's health care in Texas and protected innocent life. And I can tell you, I stood there and took a beating from somebody who's running for governor as a Democrat and a whole bunch of other people. And not long after we passed, and I made sure I didn't talk about running for Comptroller because I had a job to do. I did my job as a state senator. After that, months later, I was talking about how I had several of the pro-life groups were supporting me. Actually, it was just a short 30-second video, and I made the comment how Texas is the envy of the nation. Why are we the envy of the nation? Because so goes Texas. You'll never have another president that's a Republican in the state of Texas, in the whole nation. Texas is that important, and that's why they want to battleground Texas. They want to be here because they want to turn this state blue. And I said in that 30-second commercial that Texas is the envy of the nation. We stand for principles, we stand for values, and we'll stand for life. And they asked the comment, they said, now Glenn, the Comptroller's office, why is it important for you to talk about that? I was out in San Angelo talking to a Tea Party group, and a lady, she blurted out. She said, character. And I said, ma'am, what did you say? She didn't say it that loud. She kind of muttered a little bit, and I could barely hear it. And I said, what did you say, ma'am? And she said, character. And I said, that's the exact answer I gave the reporter. And the reporter said, well, I don't understand. What does that mean? And I said, let me try you one more time. The fact is we want people in all facets of our lives, whether it's our pastor that stands up here, whether it's our next door neighbor, whether it's the person that we go to the grocery store and we talk to, it's especially the people that we want serving us in office to have a thing called character. And amazingly, I didn't go into that much detail, but the gentleman, he asked me one more time, I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. And I wanted to say it's kind of like Forrest Gump says, stupid is, stupid does. But the thing is that the Comptroller's position is a really important position. It is one that is important to this state. You have the ability to steer the ship in the right or the wrong direction. And I can tell you, there's not a day that I won't stand up for a fight, because I know that our founders, they put words of life and liberty, and they didn't put them down to take up space. They put them down because they have meaning. As the father of a 5, and an 8-year-old, there is not a day that I don't wake up to say, thank God I live in Texas. And I joke about it being cold and about being here, but I can tell you my wife and had the discussion that if so goes Texas, where are we going to move to then? And I can tell